We are going to discuss the foundation type for high-rise building in Hong Kong. We will including selection criteria, design principle, and a case study. Foundation is a building structure designed to transmit loads to the ground. High-rise buildings are buildings that are at least 23 meters tall. As there are limited land in Hong Kong, high-rise building can provide more area, therefore it is widely used. There are typhoons in Hong Kong, so wind-resistant design is needed for the high-rise building. Foundation can be primarily classified in two parts, shallow foundation and deep foundation. Today, we will focus on large diameter board pile and socket edge pile, which are for the high-rise building. Two of them are the deep foundation. The primary functional requirements of the foundation are strength and stability. The loads of buildings should be safely transmitted to the ground and without causing movement. For the selection criteria, the first is soil condition. There are four factors: compressibility, plasticity, internal friction, and permeability. For the soil like clay, which have high plasticity, when the load is applied on the soil, it will sink gradually and heave on the surrounding ground. Second is the type of structure. Soil structure have thick load-bearing wall as the major structural elements, and skeletal structure makes use of the system of beams and columns to support the buildings. Then third is the surface structure, which have the minimum vertical supports and have large column-free area. Finally is the complex structure, which is the combination of the various kinds of structure.
Apart from these criteria, it is necessary to consider the loading, including static loads and dynamic loads from buildings on the foundation. The static loads increase with the number of floors, so the foundation design for high-rise buildings should be able to support the loadings. Choice of building materials also affects the foundation design, like the reinforced concrete buildings exert more loads on the foundation compared to the steel structures. For dynamic loads, piles should be designed with sufficient ductility to resist loads from wind and earthquake, so as to maintain their ability to carry the building vertical loads reliably. For heavy loading, deep foundation should be used in order to eliminate the detrimental settlement and movement. Another selection criterion is the economic consideration. The cost of the foundation can take around 30% of the total cost, so the study of the foundation is very important while controlling the construction cost. For example, the cost of large diameter board pile foundation is around 10,000 Hong Kong dollars per meter cube board sheet. The total cost of foundation can be very expensive. Since the budget is usually limited, the cost of materials, installation, and excavation methods should be considered before designing the foundation type. In addition, the underground utility, including water piles, tree wood, may also affect the choice of foundation type. They may cause the soil to strengthen depending on the type of soil. It may affect the stability of the foundation, and the foundation may need to be deeper. Other construction factors like safety, resource availability, and site constraints are also factors while designing the most suitable foundation type.
The next part will be the design principles of two foundations. The Code of Practice for Foundations 2017 is intended for local use only. This Code of Practice also includes brief descriptions for local practices that could affect the design and construction for foundations under the building regulations. So let's start with large diameter broad pile foundation. Pile shaft diameter should be greater than 750 mm. It is recommended to provide a minimum horizontal spacings of 500 mm between shaft surface and edge of bell out. The out of the pile base should not exceed 1.65 times the pile shaft diameter, and the gradient should not exceed 30 degrees from the vertical. The first and the second situation provided that the socket length does not exceed 1 time the rod socket diameter, while the second and third situations do not exceed 2 times the rod socket diameter accordingly. Then I will introduce the design principle of each socket pile foundation. The rod socket should be formed in these three types. Strong to very strong granite and volcanic rock have 10,000 kPa of presumed allowable bearing pressure. Strong one have 7,500 kPa, and the moderately strong rock has 5,000 kPa. Under compressions or transient tensions, the presumed allowable bonds or frictions is 700 kPa, while under permanent tension is 350 kPa. The rod should be non-strength and has a minimum strength of 30 MPa at 28 days, and also the laterally bearing pressure is 1/3 of the vertical bearing.
For our case study, we choose to look at the Imperial Cullinan, which is located in West Kowloon. It was once a reclaimed area but now had developed into a residential area. So which kind of foundation design did the company adopt? The soil condition is shown here. We can see that the soil mostly have a firm structure. Both the larger diameter board pile and socketed edge pile are suitable to work in this soil condition. For the depth of structure, the excavation depth is about 40 meters in both areas. The large diameter bore can provide more than 100 meters below the soil, while the other might not be able to provide enough strength. The building is a residential area and has a heavy loading. The edge pile might not be able to provide enough strength comparing to the board pile. As a company, cost is one of their criteria. Since board pile requires relatively large mechanical plants, and hence more price will be needed. The socketed edge pile use steel as the material, which has a fluctuating price and might not be predictable. The project requires limited construction time. Longer time might be needed for the board pile because of the large machine. Although shorter time is needed for the edge pile, it does require loading test. Both construction cause low disturbance to the surrounding area, so as the ground. Overall speaking, despite the cost and time problems, large bore pile is better for the whole constructions, especially the depth of the structure. So which foundation types did the company finally adopt? They use large diameter board pile. They use semi-top down basement, which provides support to the basement and podium before the final excavation is reached to prevent the cost and time problem. There are weak strengths and weaknesses for both foundation types. The company should adapt to the changes and choose the best one. And that's the end of our presentation. Thank you. Do you have any question?